What's up, you goobers of the internet? Mark with Cardivox Academy here, and today I'm very excited to be doing another co-reaction. Today we're going to be talking with Melissa Bonny of Ad Infinitum. They've got a new song called Afterlife coming out that we're very excited to hear in the Cardivox Academy world. Now, if you're new to the channel, what we do with these reactions and these co-reactions is we take the reaction format, we break it down, we have some fun. I pause a lot because I like to talk about vocal techniques, so if you don't like pauses, you're on the wrong channel. And we try to make these educational and fun to watch as well. Now, if you enjoy the content at any time, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It is a lot of fun. We also have a Patreon where we have a pretty active Discord. Tonight, we have an event focused on Vocalist solely. We're going to do like a little karaoke night. It's going to be a lot of fun. And when I edit these co-reactions, sometimes not all of the footage makes it to the final cut, and we always post that on our Patreon for you to view as well. So that's pretty much all I have there. Let's go ahead. Let's welcome Melissa to the call. Melissa, what's up? Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Hey. My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no, it was cool. We've actually been able to work with Napalm and get all sorts of cool guests. It's been a lot of fun, which is especially exciting because, you know, this realm of music that your band, that Ad Infinitum is in, is surprisingly relatively new to me. You know, growing up, I was listening to stuff that was just sludgy and death metal-y and as like demonic as possible. So like these more soaring, more like adventurous for a strange use of adjectives sections are really new and really fun to me. I'm having a great time looking into it. So before we jump in, tell me a little bit, if you want to, or I can go in blind. Tell me a little bit about this song and what to expect and maybe any other interesting things about it that we can keep in mind while going into the song and the video.
Sure. What can I say without spoiling the fun? I would say, you know, the song, it's going to be very interesting. But actually you're focused on the vocals. I was gonna talk about the guitars and say, yeah, it's very genty and it's very new for Ad Infinitum. Vocally, well, first of all, there's two vocalists in this song because we're featuring Nils Molin from Amaranthe and Dynazty. And
very cool.
Oh my God, well, one thing I can tell you is that this song has been nicknamed my nemesis because it was such a pain in the studio to get some of the vocal lines done that, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if you will if you will find out which ones were tricky for me.
Okay, sure. And you know, I'm actually really glad to hear you say that, because one thing I really like doing with these co-reaction videos, I mean, I've definitely heard your band before this, because when I learned we were going to be doing this, I was like, well, I got to check out who this is, right? And vocalists such as yourself, who are extremely talented, I think sometimes get put on like sort of like this deified pedestal where people think that, you know, you can go into the studio and just hash stuff out without thinking about it. Like you're texting and just like doing all these crazy soaring things.
Oh my God.
You know, it's still tough for a lot of people. Although, you know, I'm sure that if we saw studio footage, we would all be like, damn, that looked easy. So, you know, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I think it's very wrong to think that everything is super easy, especially for this album. I've tried to push my limits and to do some things that I've never done before here and there, to try to research more into what was fitting the song and what was serving the song. And, you know, these nice little details, the icing on the cake. So there's definitely some things that I had to take a moment to do a few takes, you know.
Hey, nobody here is going to blame you for that. Don't even worry about it. Okay, well, I'm really excited to hear about it. And you know what? Shoot, if during the video you want to talk about guitars, I don't know much about guitars, but we have a lot of viewers who are guitarists. So feel free to talk about the guitars. You'll be like, oh, here's this thing. And I'll be like, I trust you. So without further ado, I think we should just go ahead and get into it. Let's check out Afterlife by Ad Infinitum. Let's go. All right, I'm going to pause before the chorus or in the chorus, and then we're going to go back. Don't worry. So, this video so far, I want to touch on the visual aspects first because I'll get past that really quick because I don't know much about it. But I love like the castles and the flames, and I feel like that's like a sort of a common theme in this genre. And it's one of the things that I'm like really enjoying discovering about it is there's like this kind of fantasy element to the visual aspect. I mean, we got these dramatic masks and these hoods, and does that tie into the content of the video at all, or the content of the song? I mean to say, or was it just like, shit, this is badass, so we're gonna do it? What's the setting about?
Well, actually, we didn't really. When we talked with the video director about doing this video, we didn't tell him much about the content of the song, like the lyrics, the themes, etc. It's just like he had this location in mind, and I mean, it kind of fits because it's a castle, and we're talking about history in our albums, so. It fits. We didn't want something modern. We wanted something that looks as pure as possible, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we just said we want tons of fire. And he said, "Okay, hold my beer, we'll make it happen."
Yeah, no, your director delivered, that's for sure, and it looks great. I love the lighting behind everybody. It's super cool. So let's talk about your singing here. So, you know, as I mentioned before, this genre of music is somewhat new to me. Is like I'm in my early 30s and I'm just now like getting into this sort of thing. But what I heard there and what I really enjoyed there was a strong command of fundamental singing practices, right? Your voice was very clear, very even. Your tone was really nice and rounded. By the way, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, right? Like there's no shame in my game, but I felt like you were adding a little bit of warmth to your singing tone, which number one, I thought went really well with this sort of like the beginning of this song is very mysterious, right? And so you're adding this warmth, which is kind of playing with that mysterious aspect as well. And because the song had those like, you know, more genty dum 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 dum, it was nice having something with a bit of low end, for lack of a better term, to juxtapose those guitar riffs. Is that kind of just where you sing most comfortably and most normally, or was this like, yeah, this is the tone I need for this section? What kind of went behind picking these melodies for this spot?
So this song is one of those songs where Adrian, our guitar player, and Corby, our bass player, they worked together, and they had plenty of ideas, and they delivered a demo that was very final, and we loved it so much that I just, you know, created something around it without changing any tonality, any key. We work in a very random way sometimes. For example, I have a melody, I will program some very quick drums and orchestration, send them to the drummer or to the rest of the band, or the drummer has an idea, he will program something. So it really works in a way that can look confusing from the outside, but we all have ideas, we all share them, and we all work on them together. And this song started with the idea of Adrian and Corby. And for this part, I think my idea was, okay, there's this very genty part, and I want to bring back the rhythm to something very understandable for, let's say, normal listener, not genty listener.
Sure.
So, and you know, there was this whole, it's kind of funny because the working title was Spooky. And I was like, okay, I get it. And I know what you want me to do here. And like you say, the way of singing was mysterious, and also to underline this spooky atmosphere, and to build it with the arrival of the chorus.
Well, I think you did an excellent job about that. And I think that, you know, I love hearing one of the things I love about these co-reactions is not only do I get to talk to you about technique, but I also get to talk to you about mindset. And I think mindset is just as equal to us vocalists as is the way that we sing. You know, a lot of times when I'm talking with a student, they have this sense that, you know, their band that they're in, that they're new, or once they get in a band, they constantly have to be the thing driving the song. And I, you know, it always comes back to like sometimes we sit back. You know, I've had similar situations where the guitarist, our guitarist, his name is Nico, he wrote something beautiful, and I'm like, yo, I gotta play second seat. Like I gotta get set back because this is too beautiful for me to just be screaming. You know, with me, I'm doing all that rah stuff. But yeah, cool. Let's go back and let's get into this chorus, because I'm already hearing you just hitting these beautiful high belting notes, and we're going to talk about that. Also, this guitar is like an absolute flex, and I love it. Just like that paint and everything. I don't know, it's a cool design. Let's go.
Yeah, it is super cool.
It's so neat. All right, I know that was really short, but that's just the song is telling me that that's a good place to pause. We'll keep this one kind of brief so we can get right back into the song. But one question I get the most, from viewers and students and everybody is what does singing these high notes and what does belting and you know, I don't know if you were in a full on belt there. It kind of sounded like to me, but I've noticed that belting has a broader definition the more people you talk to. But people are always curious, what does this sensation feel like? So I'd like to hear from you when you're releasing these huge soaring notes that are just like, to me, that sounded so beautifully balanced. To me, it sounded like you were just hanging out and the note was just coming out of you and you were just letting it happen. Or was this one of those tough sections? Was this one of the tough sections?
It was the worst line ever.
Whoa.
Like, I spent maybe half an hour warming up and trying to get the right thing. Like, that was if I have to pick one line on the album, on the entire albums of Ad Infinitum, that really gave me a hard time, this is the one.
Wow.
Honestly. Because, you know, okay, belting, how does it feel? It feels like you have to kind of narrow your throat. At least that's how I feel.
Okay.
To regulate the pressure. I don't know. It's how I feel. I feel like if I'm making my throat more narrow, I can get the note easier. Yeah, I guess
it's hard to talk about. Yeah, go ahead. But no, I know what you mean. It's hard to describe. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny because I had the discussion yesterday on my Patreon page about this. They were asking me about, you know, switches between clean and growls and that kind of stuff. And every time I'm asked, I try to describe what happens, but it's just so difficult to explain exactly what happens inside because I just do it. And that's the way I felt it when I rehearsed it. I felt like I had to really be careful of the air pressure.
Yes.
So I could, and also of the sustain and, because, you know, when I sing in my comfort zone, it's much easier. I don't have to think so much, but this is clearly, like, at that point when I was in the studio, was clearly out of my comfort zone. And this is one of these lines where I was like, okay, I'm going to push myself because I want that result. I don't want to settle for compromise here. So I really worked on it. And now I can do it because, you know, it's like when there's those very high notes that you're close, but it's still uncomfortable. The more you work, it's like if you go to the gym and you're lifting weight.
Yes.
If you start with, you know, with a lower weight than your goal, and then you get there. And it's exactly the same I feel with the vocals. When I'm almost there, it means that if I work on it, I will be there eventually in, I don't know, 1 week or 1 month, or depends on the challenge, obviously.
Sure.
Yeah. But I'm curious about your definition of belting, because maybe I'm completely wrong with what's happening in my throat.
No, I mean, to be honest, we'd have to like sit and like actually like do some belting together and like really pick apart each other's technique to make that call. But for me, it sounds like we're kind of working on the same wavelength. For me, when I talk about belting, I'm talking about utilizing your vocal mechanism, your whole instrument, in such a way that you can gain power and power and volume by way of proper resonance placement, right? So a lot of times people will think about belting as being just as loud as you possibly can. And while a good, happy byproduct of belting is that you have a lot of volume, the main focus should be utilizing the resonance chambers in your head to maximize sound wave movement, essentially. And then what's going to happen is you're doing a very little work on your throat. You're pushing down, you're accessing that sort of like pelvic floor sensation. And then your head is just sort of vibrating, and you're getting all of this big sound with a feeling of, I don't want to say low effort, because it's not like it's just, oh, you just open your mouth and there comes a high note, but a feeling of balanced effort maybe. And what you said is really important. You talked about pressure regulation, and that's a really big thing, because it's important. Different notes require different amounts of air and pressure and things like this, of course. But so often people are like, okay, so high notes need more pressure. And they're just like, oh God, no. Like it's just a little bit, it's subtle, right? Well, I'll tell you, you would have fooled me, because the final result here sounds so easy. So,
well, thank you.
It came across well.
It's very interesting. Well. What you're explaining is very interesting, because sometimes I cheat my way up with twang, and then it feels like a walk in the park. But the sound is different.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm just like, no, this is not the right sound for this part. And sometimes, you can kind of balance the techniques to go, you use twang, but then you shift it a little bit to go more into belting. So the sound is closer to belting, but still you're a little bit cheating there because it's very high notes. But twang sound, like for me, it's like, if I really cannot, I will use this and I'll be like, yeah, okay, easy. But belting for me, but maybe because I haven't done so much belting so far. So maybe I'm also still learning, or still maybe also because of the range of like this note. At some point I was like, should we just, tune down the whole song? No, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I've been there. I was there on Tuesday. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was there on Tuesday. Yeah, struggling. That's a story for another time, but no, I totally feel that. And you'll probably find that I'm a pretty like relaxed and like permissive person when it comes to like viewpoints on singing and stuff, because people will be like, oh, you're using twang, you're cheating, and I'm like, does it sound good? Is it safe? Well, then who cares? Like, that's a lot of how it is for me. But let's go ahead and let's go back. This castle is beautiful.
Sure.
That I cannot get over. We don't have a lot of those over on this side of over in this neck of the woods. So yeah, whenever us Americans see a castle, we're like, is that a castle? Anyways, let's go back. Maybe right here. This might get us back into the chorus. Yo, that was awesome. So you'll have to forgive me on site, just visually. Also because I have a terrible memory. My wife can attest to that. My memory is embarrassingly bad. But visually, I can't recognize who is that as the guest feature again?
It's Nils Molin from Amaranthe and Dynazty.
Right. That was awesome. First of all, his voice is beautiful for the song. I love how he snarls some of his syllables out. I've never visually seen him sing before. I mean, listen to Spotify and things like that, but like I love the way he's snarling and kind of pushing these vocals forward. And then when you two come together, the timbre of your voices were really good. His is very, rich and powerful, and you have that like high belting aspect again. Was that, I don't know. This is less of a technique question, but like that looked so fun. Like, was it super fun to film that section? Cause like I was watching it and I was like, I feel powerful right now. Like my inbox is kind of bloated and I can totally tack those emails after this. I'm invincible. Yeah. So like, yeah. Was that just like super fun to do? Cause it was super fun to watch.
Yeah, it was very cool. The whole video shoot was cool. And obviously, it's funny because when you perform with your bandmates, there's some kind of, you're in your comfort zone, you know each other. And this moment when we started to perform together. Yeah. I think especially me having direct eye contact with someone, like being close like this, it's the perfect recipe for me to start to giggle or laugh but actually the whole atmosphere, the flames and everything, it's like you described. You feel powerful. It's the middle of the night. You're in a castle. There's like nothing and no one around, and there's just those flames, and you feel like empowered. And it's just fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I love even in that aspect. I love how now. Listen, I ain't about to do any dancing here because nobody needs to see my like chubby pasty self dance around. But like I love how you are like moving in the music video. There's like the fire explodes and you like arch your back and raise your hands up to like exemplify that like upward movement. I don't know if you're like thinking about that in the moment or you're just vibing, but it's really very cool. Oh, go ahead. Please go ahead.
No, it's just it just feels right in the moments too. It's always like this. When we start shooting music videos, there's like 1 or 2 takes where I'm getting in the mood, and then it's like I'm dancing and I cannot control it.
Good. That's awesome. I love that. I love that feeling. Of course, I've never danced like that in a music video, but sometimes when you're on stage, you just start running around like a dummy. Had to do that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Did you and he write his section together, or did he write his vocal line, bring it to the table, and you're all like, "Cool, that sounds good"? How did the decision making of what melodies he was going to sing happen?
No, actually, I wrote both vocal melodies.
Oh, cool.
There's one vocal melody for both verses. He kind of adapted a few things here and there, and it works very well. And I wrote both vocal melodies for the chorus as well. And he recorded beautifully. And also, you will hear later, he also added his touch, but it's later in the song.
Oh, so okay. Well, maybe we should get back into it again. I actually want to hear that one more time. Because see here, like, look at that. Like, how can you watch this video and not be like, dang, I'm going to go slay some dragons? Like, I don't know what's going on. Let's I just want to hear that whole thing again. Let's go. Wow, that's a big chunk of the song. It's fine with me though. Doesn't bother me. Let's go right here.
Crescendo
anyone says we're listening to that again, if anybody's like, oh, that's so annoying, unsub. Watch me care about it. That was crazy good. I love like here, like this was totally an accident where I paused it, but I love like, look at this chemistry y'all have, like rocking back and forth, like you said, like looking into each other's eyes. There's flame behind you, like so cool. Like anyway, I don't know anything about
right where you pause.
Yeah,
right where you pause is what we chose for the thumbnail.
Are you serious?
Yes.
No one who watches this video is gonna believe that that's an accident. They're all gonna be like, I
promise you, it's the exact second we use.
Everybody's gonna be like, this is some staged bull crap. This is all fake. I guarantee. But like legit, that's so cool. So listen, I would not believe you. I almost don't believe you when you're like, yeah, I haven't been belting for, I don't know why that's your voice now. Yeah, I don't know why I'm using that voice, but yeah, I haven't been belting for a long time. This was really tough because like, this sounds so effortless. And I'm not an audio producer, but I'm not hearing a lot of studio magic. It's all sounding very, very true to what you're doing. So last question for you, and then we'll get back to it. So now that I know you've been singing for such a long time, if you were like to warp back in time or like pull an Outlander and like jump through some stones, and like talk to your past self, what's like one of the most important pieces of advice you'd give to like, Melissa of 10, 15 years ago?
Definitely that, there was this point where I just thought, yeah, singing is not a career, it's just a hobby. And I kind of let it, a little bit aside. And I feel like if I had known earlier that I could make a career out of music, I would have started to learn more about it much earlier. And I had, this understanding that, especially I grew up in Switzerland, and you need a lot of money every month to pay the rent, pay the insurance, pay everything. And it's actually why I left Switzerland in the first place, because when you're a musician, you tour in Europe, you don't have a Swiss salary, you have a European salary. And I had this understanding that this would never be a thing. When I was a kid, I really wanted to be a singer. And then I kind of gave up that idea and thought, yeah, I'm going to do something stable and sing on the side. And I think that if I had known earlier that no, you just have to make it happen. Yeah. If that's what you want, if that's what you're good at, you just have to work for it. I think it would have, made a lot of things faster. And easier. Yeah, I guess.
Well, I'm certainly glad that you changed your mindset and you were like, yeah, no, I am going to go for this, because now we have this amazing song to listen to. And that's good advice too. That's good advice, because like, goodness, if I had thought that you could make a career out of like helping people make screaming noises and making YouTube videos and being a musician like 5 years earlier than I did, then yeah, I'm with you there. I totally get it. Well, let's go back and then let's kind of just listen to some of this a little bit farther. Let's go right here. How about here? This looks cool. Why not? Doomed and petrified. Yeah. The face of fear and doubt. You see the angels fade away, so one strike and look at the sky and you pray to die. A second chance, feel me just alive. See my face, and it's right. Carry your eyes sky tonight. I could listen like y'all could have done that outro for 10 more minutes and I would have been fine with it. Like I would have been fine with it. That would have been totally cool with me. I can hear what you're saying now. I mean, especially more so since you pointed it out, but when you enter that outro and you both have like that sort of like like that slower, like lower tone. I can hear you kind of moving and modulating these noises, and it sounds super cool. Well, that song is wild. I'm telling you, I could listen to that outro quite a few more times. It was so good. Yeah, that's great. So much power, so much emotion in the song, so much really good storytelling. Like, you know, this is definitely something where I'm going to be like looking up the lyrics and like reading through the lyrics of the whole song, because I feel like, sometimes you hear music and it's really cool, but it doesn't make you like think like, I got to dig deeper into this and see like what this is about, like what's going on. But with this one, I certainly do have that inclination. So any other thoughts you have on this song? Anything else you want to point out? Because I mean, realistically, we'd have to talk for another 6 hours to get everything out, but neither of us have that kind of time. So yeah, anything else you want to point out or make a note of here?
Yeah, this funny story of what happened in the studio when we received Nils' vocals, and I wrote some ad libs for the last chorus, and I was like, I told him, yeah, do what you want, and then we were all in the studio for the mix, and we put the vocals together, and his vocals with the rest, and he sort of recorded a few ad libs, and he was like, yeah, take what you want, and everyone was like, oh, we take it all. but then we had to remove one of those I had done, and I was like, I kind of want to do something there as well, so it's a good balance between his vocals, my vocals, the leads, the ad libs, so it's like a festival of vocals there. And but he had covered so much of the spectrum. He was like everywhere with his voice, and I was trying some stuff and it just didn't work, or it was kind of blending with his, and I was like, fuck, what do I do now? And at some point I thought, there was this one thing that I kind of started to learn before going to the studio, which is the whistle tones. And I don't know exactly if you can say that this particular line is already in the whistle range. I think it is. I won't say for sure yes it is. If you tell me it's not yet there, I won't be mad. But anyway, I started to work on it, and I was like trying some stuff, and then suddenly I just go like super high, and I just see the guys, they were sitting, I could see them through the window from the vocal booth, and I just saw this Adrian, he just goes like like, yeah, do it. And we just like, okay, then we keep this.
Yeah,
but it was just the only way to get a little spot there, and I was like, okay, higher, Melissa, higher.
Yeah, it's crazy some of the things that are going on in that outro, and that whistle register, that's something that I've just accepted. I'm probably never going to have the time to sit down and get myself. Maybe when I'm like retired and I'm just like sitting on the porch drinking coffee by myself. Maybe I'll have time to find it there. But it's such an amazing sound to hear. It's such an amazing sound to hear. So I love the whole thing. Anyway, we could kibitz for like like I said, another 6 hours, but we're busy folks. We got things to do. So that being said, go ahead and do me a favor and plug your band for us. I'm sure most of the people watching this are people who are avid fans of yours. But when can we expect some releases? What things should we keep in mind moving forward with this song and more music from y'all in the future?
Yeah, sure. So the release date of this song is the 29th of October. And then we have another one coming about a month later, and the album coming on the 29th of October. And for this occasion, we have a release show in Switzerland and an online release show coming about a week after.
Awesome. Online release show. That sounds cool. How's that going to work? What are the details of that?
So we will share soon a link where people can buy tickets. And the show is gonna stay online for a few days, so you can, if you're not available on the day of the premiere, you can still watch it a few days after.
Awesome.
And yeah, there's gonna be some nice stuff. Like you can have also access to some behind the scenes, like a little documentary that we shot when we were preparing the whole thing, and yeah, some cool stuff.
That's exciting. That sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. Y'all viewing the video should go do that, because that sounds like a hell of a time. Well, with that being said, I think we've reached a good spot to sort of segue out, but I definitely am excited for this album. I'm excited for everything y'all are doing.
Thank you.
Again, I appreciate you being here. For the viewers, like, share, subscribe. Makes us all happy. Love it. Getting close to that 100K. But anyways, as I always say, many thanks, much love. I'm out.